Welcome back to the Mowing in the Dark podcast. I am your host, Sutter. Thank you for tuning in to another episode. I'm getting tongue-tied already. Guys, oh my goodness. What in the world is happening? Today, I just want to give you life update on my business. Not really, well, life a little bit. Mostly my business, though, because it has been crazy. It's been crazy pants. Let's just say that. So, as you guys know, if you've been listening to the podcast, you know that I had my main mower, my Toro Multiforce, went down last Tuesday with a bad oil leak. So I took it into my dealer right away, and I still have not gotten a call about what's wrong with it. I've called a couple times now. They still haven't gotten it in to look at it. So I'm getting pretty frustrated with my Toro dealer. I'm not going to say their name. I've said their name before, but you can determine who it is if you want. All right. So they're good people. Just they have a lot of things to work out in their dealership. So I'll just leave it at that. So, once that mower went down, I started mowing with the Gravely. So the Gravely 42-inch residential mower is now my main mower until I get this Toro Multiforce back up and running, or at least find out what's going on with it. And so I've been running with this Gravely mower for a while now, and it's doing okay, but I have to double cut a lot because the cut quality isn't up to my standard for what I would like it to be. Sometimes it leaves a strip of grass kind of on that third farthest from the discharge spindle. And so I have to double cut because of that. And so it does get frustrating, and it gets laborious and time consuming, but it's getting me by. And that's what I really need right now, is to get by. Now, last Friday, I actually went to a different dealer. Shout out to Outdoor Equipment over in Diamonddale. I went there and I rented a mower. I rented a Gravely. It was a Pro Turn. That's all they had, was a Gravely Pro Turn 660. So it was a 60-inch deck, which was fine because I had 3 really big properties to mow on Friday. So that got me through Friday. However, it cost me $189 to rent the mower for the day. So that was a bit brutal. That really ate into the profits of that day. So it is what it is. I have to get the jobs done. I have to get the properties done. So that's what I did on Friday. And the Tuesday that the Multiforce broke down, I actually also broke a part on the Toro Time Master. It's a little metal piece that, and I think I've said this before, but it's a little metal piece underneath the personal pace system that connects to the wire that drives the transmission, and that little piece broke, and so I had to order a new one. So the dealer called me today and said that part was in. So I asked, is there any idea what's going on with the Toro Multiforce? And this was something that really kind of ticked me off. The guy that called me said, well, I have no idea. I'm in parts. Well, maybe you should learn how to operate your phone and contact someone and see if you can find out what is wrong with my mower. But, their customer service today is a dying thing, I swear. It's like everybody works at McDonald's these days. Here's your food. Throws your food at you. It's just terrible. Customer service around everywhere is just terrible. So mower prices are high. Customer service is very low. quality of equipment is very low because they are just trying to churn out these machines as fast as they can because of part shortages, and they're doing a bad job of it. So it's a really crazy time in the lawn care business. So I have been looking and researching different mower brands, different companies, whatever, looking at different dealers, all this stuff, and it's just been coming at me like crazy. So Saturday, had the day off, and I decided, you know what? I busted a leaf spring a couple weeks back, and I replaced that, and I bought 2 of them so I could replace the other one. So I thought, it's Saturday, let's, my son and I will just replace this real quick. So got everything taken apart, and wouldn't you know it, the trailer's busted. Yeah. So there's a beam that runs right, it runs right in front pretty much of the axle, and that is what the little leaf spring casing where it hooks to the trailer, that is what is busted. That whole beam, the weld at the end, it was busted. And so it's just hanging there, not really doing anything. So the whole axle had shifted back a little bit. So, I thought, well, I've got this little teeny tiny, it's almost like a novelty welder because it's not very good, but I bought it a couple of years back thinking that it would do good for welding expanded metal on my trailer gate. It didn't. I burned through a bunch of the expanded metal. It wasn't worth it. So I've got this welder. I've tried to sell it in garage sales and stuff. Nobody wants it. So I just decided, you know what? I'm going to try to weld this myself. And so I welded it as best as I could, and I'm a terrible welder, guys. I'm horrible at welding. I need to take some welding classes or something. Maybe it's just this welder that I'm using, but I think it's me. So I did my best to weld it, and I didn't use a hammer to knock off any of the sediment or anything. So it was terrible. So I thought, you know what? We're just going to run with it, see what happens. So we went out today, Monday, and about halfway through the day, I checked it, and it had already broken. So that tells you how good of a welder I am. So we got back home we got home at like 6 o'clock, something like that. And so I decided, you know what, I really need to fix this trailer. Now that I know that it's broken, since I found that it's broken, it needs to be fixed. This could be a disaster waiting to happen. So I decided, we're gonna fix this thing. So I tried welding it again. This time though, I hit off the sediment, and wouldn't you know, I just decided, you know what, I'm going to test this. I'm going to take a hammer, I'm going to hammer on the leaf spring and see what happens here. And I hammer on it, about maybe five times, and I see one side of this little casing start to pull away from the top part of the metal. So I'm like, oh, great. Well, this isn't going to work again. So I get my angle grinder out again, and I grind off all the weld that I put on there. I thought I had done a great job. No, I didn't. So I ground all that off so it'd be pretty smooth. And what I decided to do, up in this little canister thing, there's 2 holes, and I'm sure they're not for bolts, but I decided I'm going to drill a hole up through the steel on the trailer, because there's angle iron and it's right there. I decided to drill a hole up there, just one for now, and we'll see what happens. The reason just one is because actually my neighbor across the street is a welder by trade. I haven't been able to catch him, but I'm hoping that I can catch up with him and have him do it, have him weld it. It'll take him probably, 2 minutes to weld this thing and do it perfectly, because he's done it for like 40 years. So I'm sure he has, I know he has a welder. I know he has the tools. It's just, catching him. He's a busy guy. He loves projects, so he's always working on something. So he's kind of hard to catch. He's retired now, as far as I know. So, but anyway, so I just put one bolt up there just to hold it in place for a couple of days until I can catch my neighbor to see if he can weld this thing for me. So I get everything taken apart and we drill the hole and got a bolt up in there. Everything's working great. So that is taken care of, hopefully, for the next few days anyway. That was my 4th breakdown of the last week. The other breakdown was the pull cord on my Echo PB770 backpack blower broke. So that's not a big deal. What I did is I just tied a knot in it, and it was the rope was hanging out about this far. For those of you listening on the podcast and not watching the video, that's about a foot. And so it was hanging out of the little pull thing about a foot, but I could still pull it and start it. So that was awesome. I went on Amazon, bought a replacement for it, just aftermarket, whatever. That came in, I think it was on Sunday. Yeah, I think it was Sunday or Saturday. Maybe it came in Saturday. I was just too busy working on the trailer to fix it Saturday. So I fixed it this morning before we went out. It was like a 5-minute fix, and it works perfectly. It's great. So that is my week update, guys. 4 breakdowns within a week. It has been super frustrating, but you know what? We're making it through. And as my buddy Cameron Duncan always says on his podcast, The Lawn Care Life in Missouri, is at the end of his podcast, he always says, God provides. And I was listening to his podcast today because I was really frustrated. I was thinking to myself, I really should just go buy a new mower. I should just go buy a new mower. But I was so uneasy. It didn't feel right. It didn't feel right going and buying a new mower. It just didn't. I had complete anxiety over buying this new mower. And so I decided, you know what? I'm just going to hold off and wait. I'm just going to wait. I'm just going to rest. I'm going to keep working, but just wait. Just allow God to work. If you don't know, I believe in Jesus Christ. I believe in God. I believe that He provides. And so I just decided, you know what? I'm just going to wait. I'm going to let myself calm down. And I'm going to just relax. I'm going to choose to not do anything right now. I am just going to choose to wait and to see what happens. Because the dealership hasn't called me about what's wrong with the Toro Multiforce yet. It could be a $5 seal. It could be. It could be that when I had it in there last time and they changed the oil. Now, granted, I change my own oil most of the time. They found that my oil was low, and so they changed the oil for me the last time I had it in there. So it could be that they just didn't put on the filter properly. That could be all it is. I don't know. I mean, they have a lot of issues at this dealership. I'm sorry, they do. One time I took a Hustler Raptor there. It was a Hustler Raptor SD, which I don't think they make that anymore, but I took it in there for something to get repaired, and when I went to go pick it up, they brought it out, and this was a 42-inch deck, so it was very compact. I know how it's supposed to look, all right? This thing, they had the back tires on this thing on backwards. So they were sticking way out past the deck, and they were normally just inside the deck. So they're way outside the deck. And I look at this thing, and the owner is standing there with me of this dealership, and I said, this mower don't look right. Something ain't right here. And he's like, what do you mean? It looks fine to me. And the kid that brought it out, he said, looks fine to me. And I said, no, I think those back tires are on backwards. And the owner got to looking at it. He got down there, looked at it, kind of looked cross-eyed at it. He's like, oh my gosh, get this thing back in there. And oh my gosh. So this dealer has a reputation of not putting things together back exactly as they were. So, everybody's going to make mistakes. I get it. I'm human. I make mistakes too. Look at the welding job. I mean, for instance. So I get it. I totally get it. And I have lots of grace for these people because I keep going back there. But at some point, I'm going to have to stop going back there if it continues. But I just waited and I just calmed down. I had a great rest of the day. Just, my butt hurts because I'm used to standing, and this Gravely is a sit down. My butt hurts bad. It's really sore. But we got through the day. Everything was fine. I've been talking with my buddy Cameron Duncan on Messenger tonight, just talking things through, kind of processing, what it would look like if I bought a new mower, what it would look like if I bought a used mower, what if it looked like if I bought a different brand, what it would look like if I just completely waited until I find out what the dealer has to say about my my Multiforce, see what they say. If it's just something that's easily fixable, great. Or if the engine is cracked, if the engine block is cracked, do I replace the engine, or do I go buy, something else? Maybe like a Bradley mower, which is less than half the price of a Toro. Yes, I get it. There's I have some worries, some concerns about quality of the Bradley mowers, but I have a big concern about the price tag on a Toro grandstand. They're way overpriced. All of these manufacturers are not putting out very good stuff right now. There's a lot of issues with lawn equipment coming off of the lines for these manufacturers right now because they're having tough time getting parts, and so they're using what they get, and sometimes these parts are failing. So it's pretty ridiculous. So I'm just choosing to wait. I'm choosing to relax. I'm still researching, other brands. I'm still trying to contact area reps for different brands, see if I can get demos for different brands. But at the end of the day, I'm just waiting. I'm just waiting until the time is right. I'm going to pause. I'm going to continue to work. I'm going to continue to use the Gravely mower until I hear back from my dealer. And I'm deciding, I am choosing to be calm about this whole situation. I'm choosing to not let it affect me. I'm choosing to not let it affect my day anymore. I'm choosing to be happy with where I'm at, no matter where that is. And if you're going through something like this, you have to understand, I have been through a lot of stress in my life, a ton of stress. It is so unhealthy. It is so bad for you. It's bad for your body. It's bad for your health. It's bad for your heart. It's bad for your mind, because when you get into this space of stress and anxiety, you don't think properly because your body is in that fight or flight mode. That's what I was in today. I was in that fight or flight mode of, I'm just going to drop, $13K on a new mower. I'm just going to go drop 13, 14K on a new mower today because I don't want to be mowing all these lawns with a 42-inch mower. It's going to take forever. That was my thought process. I was in fight or flight. I wasn't thinking clearly. And my son was with me. He was kind of a calming presence there because he has no skin in the game. So he's like just sitting there, riding along for the ride. And I started going to the Toro dealer. Like, I left a property, we went out on the main road, and I was starting to drive to that Toro dealer. To make that purchase. And we got a quarter mile down the road, and I'm just like, man, it just doesn't feel right. This doesn't feel right. I don't feel right in my spirit, is what I said. And I was like, I don't think I should do this. And my son was like, well, if you don't follow your gut, usually that means, if things go bad if you don't follow your gut. So I always try to follow my gut, Dad. And it was a calming presence for me because he had no skin in the game. Cameron Duncan has no skin in the game, but, like I do here, but he's willing to talk to me about that. So that's the power of the community here, the lawn care community as well. So guys, I'm starting to ramble a little bit. I am tired. It's 11:30 at night. I should have been in bed like an hour ago, but it is what it is, guys. I wanted to get content out for you. So that's just an update of my last week, really. And I hope that you got some value out of it. I hope it jogged some things in your mind. And guys, that's it. Thanks for listening. I will see you in the next episode.